but artists are essential as like meaning makers in culture. They reflect in so many ways the emotional body and the currents and the tones and the all these things that like they're like in their creating, they're mirroring to the collective the story of how we see and think and feel and know what we know ourselves to be. And that's like across the board in art, filmmaking, music, writing, visual arts, theater, dance, all these forms of expression. They're such an important part of meaning making in culture, and they're such an important part of like understanding ourselves. And the thing that concerns me with all of us bringing our attention so much into the the um, the realm of the kind of visual stimulation that we experience on social media is that if we're constantly seeing imagery like the stuff that's starting to come out with AI, this like highly like glossy and dramatic and kind of smooth and perfect and like shaped realities, like it's amazing. But if like all that starts to infuse into what we're seeing, we're going to start to lose something. We're going to get a distorted view of reality. And so, if anything, as an artist, I have a couple of messages that I want to share, bring forth. One is that it's so important that it's inevitable that we're careening ahead on this route with AI, and I don't know where it's going to take us. Maybe it's mystical and necessary. Maybe it's a necessary part of our evolution as a species, is we have to delve this much into the magic of it until and hopefully we can find a balance. But let's remember to stay grounded when we're thinking about creating our content. Let's remember that we can't forget our relationship with nature and with this essential creativity of the greatest creator, the greatest creation process, which is this beautiful marriage between creative life force and the mother, and how so much beauty, so much creativity, so much like epicness has evolved in and of itself in the living, alive, ecological world. So we don't want to lose touch with that, and we don't want to lose touch with that in what we reflect to each other, in the way that we communicate with each other. And that's why I'm always trying to like post, not just my art, but like roses and mandalas or beautiful places in nature. Like I feel like I've always been trying to bring forth this message, to create this balance, to create a unified experience. And I have been starting to feel with the influx of the AI art of like something precious in the message that I want to bring forth is getting missed. If we completely pivot our attention into the idealized, kind of fantasized epicness of things, we might be losing something incredibly valuable that before we even know. So yeah, a grounded balance. Keep staying in relationship with the living ecological world, and keeping that in mind in the way that we create content and communicate with each other. Showing up on camera and being vulnerable and alive, real human. Those kinds of things. And this is getting to be a long one. So then the other piece is, it's important to remember to still hire artists and graphic designers, copywriters, real people, because real economies, healthy economies, ecologically aware economies, um, are about people doing business and transacting with each other in tangible ways. And if we allocate all of our financial resources, our attention, our focus, we take our business just into these realms that are kind of large scale corporate identities that will, they'll prepare your marketing for you, or you can buy in and create the most epic art or whatever. But it's like we're going to lose something. We're going to lose those important, tangible, connective relationships. And the relationship between you and your designer, or the person that's helping you with your marketing or whatever, that's such a special, unique kind of dynamic that one can have in creating and designing their content. Not to mention the importance of supporting artists, just for the fact that they're bringing forth artistry, and that's such a rich, important part of culture. And yeah, and so it's about kind of really like, how do we keep in mind that we need to keep our resources like ecologically sound, like in terms of like not only giving all of your money to things that you can purchase online, but like really still working with real people, and then remembering that the thing is that there's things that the human artist and the human eye and a cultivated graphic designer can do that the technology may do really good in one way, but they won't have the emotional, empathic intelligence that a real person does when they're bringing something into the creative process. So I feel really strongly like I really want to remind people to go ahead and experiment, go ahead and utilize the tools that are available to you now in creating your marketing content, or creating things that you want to share online and with others. But keep in mind the importance of also continuing to hire your designers and your artists and your web people. Keep in mind the importance of the real human equation. So yeah, those are my two biggest takeaways, I think, and they're reminders for myself. Is like I don't think we're not gonna avoid the AI, like robotic kind of like hyper um, technological world that we're moving into. It's already here, so we're not gonna avoid it, but we can attune ourselves to our values and really make a conscientious attempt to create balance in the way that we interface with these things. And I do feel it's important. It's like if you're creating AI art, for example, to market what you do, I think it's really important to also balance that out with like imagery of real people sharing real things. Like, we don't want to lose, like, we're we're all tuning into what's being created and produced and shared online. We have a hotline where like we get to almost like you know hardwire ourselves right into like so many different types of imagery and things. And it's so important to create content, visual content, um, with like a certain amount of like efficacy around what we're creating, and how that might be influencing, like if everyone influencing the collective understanding of reality, like what we put forth to others is influencing the collective reality. So if we in our visual creating and sharing, if we lose all relationship with the natural world and like real people and like the funky like imperfection of it all, if we lose touch with the funky imperfection, we're going to be in a world that's very distorted, and it will have negative impacts and on how we see and understand ourselves, and it already does have detrimental impacts. So remember to bring a little bit of the real beauty way into what you do, what you bring forth, what you create. Bring some of your authentic self into what you share and who you are and how you move in the world and what you share online. Like, don't get carried away in the the illusions of grandeur that an intangible reality perpetuates. Yeah, like we can definitely participate with it. We can create with it. I think that I'm gonna probably start pivoting towards including. I'm gonna have to be working with AI in some way or other in my work as a web designer, graphic designer, marketing consultant. All the things that I do are being directly impacted. And I literally have been having a little bit of a panic attack about it in different levels in the last couple weeks. I think because initially when AI kind of announced itself on the scene and everybody was making all those really amazing selfies and posting them, there was negative write-ups about AI and this and that, and I was like, okay, that's something I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm not gonna participate. I'm not gonna really get involved. But that was foolish because it's definitely here. And so many people already I see are posting AI art as in their marketing material. People who were going to hire me for certain projects chose to use AI art instead of hiring me to do art. So like the reality is has been a little bit intense for me. And so I've had to ask myself, okay, what needs to adjust? How do I need to accept this? How do I need to evolve? What's important? What needs to be explored? And I think that my integration, my big share, that why I'm making this video today is I want to remind us to not forget our connection with the tangible and the real, the ecological, and the magic of nature, and also of the human. So the importance of human interaction, of valuing the humans in your world and the artists in your world. And let's find a way to use this technology in a balanced way, use technologies in balanced ways. And if not, let's find ways to make a shift. It's starting to hail, so the natural world is telling me it's time to get off of the camera. So thank you for listening, and I hope that there's been something of value that I was able to share with you today. Thank you.